Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience podcast. My name is Michele Davis, and I'm your host. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you 8 services you can provide as a new professional service provider. When you think of professional service providers, you tend to just think of coaching if you spend enough time in the online world and the internet streets, right? But no, it's consulting, it's done for you services like graphic design or social media management or website design. Those are all examples of professional service provider businesses. So, what tends to happen is when people decide that they want to start a coaching business, they will start off with one-on-one sessions. And they believe that that is the only type of service that they can offer in their business. The problem with that way of thinking, you limit yourself. Secondly, you don't put yourself in a position within the market and to really maximize your revenue potential. And thirdly, you have to think, how many clients can you ultimately serve, because you're only one person. So if you're only doing one-on-one sessions, it really limits your ability to scale and bring in other people to really support the growth of your business. And when people think of one-on-one, they think of 60 or 90-minute session. And there are so many different types of one-on-one sessions that you can offer. So you have to remember, whether it's coaching, consulting, or some other service, that people are paying for the destination. So a few years back, my daughter, well, this was before COVID, my daughter and I went to Orlando. When I was booking my trip for Orlando, all I could think about was Orlando. We went to Universal Studios. So I spent a lot of time imagining myself at Universal Studios, what we would do at Universal Studios, how that would, I had that feel good feeling about the trip. How did we get to Universal Studios from New York? We took a plane, we waited in the airport. We did all these things, but the journey to Universal Studios was important, but it wasn't more significant than what my end point was, my destination. And so it's the same thing with your clients. They are paying you for the destination. They're paying you for the end result. And so you have to keep that in mind. And the bigger the end result you deliver, the more you can maximize your revenue. So you want to make sure when it comes to operating a professional service provider business, that you're really taking on the role of business development. And part of that is building out programs and not just having one single service that's going to deliver, small results. Because let's face it, a 60-minute or a 90-minute session isn't going to deliver that much impact for your clients. So there's only going to be so much money and revenue you can earn in your business to actually see, any profit. And how many clients would you have to serve, at that rate of, whether you're charging for a 60-minute session or a 90-minute session, how many clients would you have to serve to actually replace your 9-to-5 income? So it's time to think bigger, to think about what potential you have to solve bigger problems. What skill sets do you possess? What expertise do you have, so that you can begin to solve big problems in your business so you can earn more? And the program development part, is where I help my clients. I help them build out their programs, because there's so many things that can go wrong if you don't have your process built out in a way that's going to make sure that individuals get where they want to be. They're either going to, end up derailed into, something they don't want, or they're not going to get the results. They never make it to their destination, or they get to, they finish working with you and they're like, where's my result? I paid for this and I don't have that. So you want to make sure that you take the time, you invest in your business, and you build out programs and services. So I'm going to share with you 8 services you can start out with. Now, are there more services you can do? Yes, absolutely. But when you're thinking about starting out new, it'll be a little bit harder to pull off some of those services because you have to first establish yourself in the marketplace as an expert. So let's talk about one-on-ones. Remember when I said with one-on-one sessions, people think that the only way to deliver a one-on-one is a 60 or 90-minute session. So the thing is with one-on-ones is there's so many options. So one-on-one is essentially private coaching. And so when you're privately coaching someone, they have your full attention for that time frame. Some one-on-one services that you can offer are VIP days. And VIP days are simply like, a 4-hour session, a 6-hour session, or maybe even an 8-hour session. You just need breaks in between. For any of these, of course, you have to build out a schedule. It requires structure, but it's a way for you to demand more, a higher rate. And it's a way for you to work with your clients intensively and still get them results. Then there's bundles. So when you think about the one-off 60-minute, 90-minute session, what are you really working on with your client in that period? And so it's going to be hard to really have a higher price point for a service that delivers very little or solves a small problem. But what you can do is you can bundle your coaching services where you meet with the person for 60 minutes or 90 minutes at a time. And maybe you do that for 3 sessions, or maybe you do that for 6 sessions, or, and you set how many sessions it will be, and then you can set a higher rate. That way it's worth more of your time to show up for a one-on-one. Now, what I don't recommend is that you kind of get caught up in the whole one-on-one hamster wheel. I definitely recommend that you try other services or other ways to package up your individual sessions. And the other thing I recommend is that you don't have one-on-ones as a sole service. So VIP days are great. You can charge, several $1,000s to host a VIP day for someone. Again, it's private coaching. It's very intensive, but it does require planning, and it does require some front end work before the day of the event. So that's the different types of one-on-ones you can provide. The next thing is group coaching. So with group coaching, it's one-to-many. And so essentially, you can deliver your program to many people. Of course, have your process and your program mapped out, because you have to do some upfront planning before you just launch a group coaching program. And with group coaching, the good thing is you can charge, several thousands of dollars for someone to work with you in a group setting for, 3 months, 6 months, or even 12 months, depending on the type of service you're providing. The next type of service is done for you. So when we think of done for you, people are like, well, what does that really mean? And there's a few ways to deliver done for you services. You can deliver it as a hybrid model where you have done for you in addition to some other coaching service, like a one-on-one or group coaching. You can, and when you think of done for you, it can either be business to customer or business to business. So let's say you can have a marketing agency. Let's say you're coming from a lengthy marketing career. You can transition that skill set into a marketing agency. There's social media management. So with a social media manager, that's a business to business model. And so there's really different ways that you can structure your done for you services. And what it simply means is you're actually doing part of the service for the client. You're actually creating something for them. You're serving as the hands, so to speak, that's going to deliver a finished product to your client in addition to maybe some other service, or it can be a standalone where you're actually, you're delivering this done for you service. So let's say, for example, you're a career coach and you offer a 3-month program on helping people level up in their career. And part of that is resume redesign. So you can still offer your group coaching program, and your role as the hands would be to meet with your client, meet with each client one-on-one and actually redo their resume, revise their resume so that they can actually do everything you're teaching them to do just with an updated resume. And the difference with done for you and just typical group coaching is with group coaching, you're more guiding your clients to an outcome. You're not really doing work for them. You're coaching them through your process. You're coaching them through to this solution or transformation. Done for you, you're actually doing a part of the service to help them get there. The next service I want to talk about is live events. Even as a new coach or consultant, you can pull off a live event. The best way to do this is to, yes, it's your event, but also to pull in partners for the event. And the way to maximize your revenue would be to get sponsors for the event. Sponsors would pay you to showcase their product or service in front of the audience that you have at this event. So, maybe the first time around you have partners, you all work together and you deliver some live event around a particular theme. When you're thinking about pricing, you have to look at, where is this event going to be? Like, who's going to be speaking at the event? And so you want to make sure that your value matches the pricing for the event. You want to make sure that you are realistic in where you stand in the marketplace, who you have that's committed and showing up for this event. And the other piece is, if you get a big name, then you can charge a little bit more. But, you're guaranteeing yourself a seat at the table, so to speak, because when you have these live events, you're like, hey, I'm here. I have this event. Can you partner with me on it? And if it's a big enough name, you're going to, that people recognize, you're going to get more interest. So live events are doable, totally doable with partners. And, with proper marketing, you can pull it off, even as a new coach, consultant, or other type of service provider. Another service you can provide is training. So this is where you would put on your consulting hat. So is there something that you have a deep level of expertise in that you can develop a training program around? If you caught the episode where I talked about the difference between coaching and consulting, with consulting, you have a deep level of expertise. You still have a process for delivering results to people, but your focus is not the individual. It's more so the business. The business is your client. The corporation is your client, or the company is your client. So is there a training program that there's a need for? And when I say there's a need for, you've done your market research and it's a part of your expertise. It's something that you can build a program, build out your process, and build a program around. That is definitely something that you can deliver as a newcomer, because if you have like a lengthy resume from your career where you were an expert in that area, that is what you would leverage to actually get clients to sign on with you. And, I used some examples in that other episode, but, when you think about your career, how many consultants have come in with, training programs where you were training with someone that was, outside of the company, where the company brought the person in, paid them to deliver this phenomenal training. I did some marketing for a company a while back. The marketing was geared toward real estate agents. They would regularly bring in, people that specialized in marketing, people that ultimately would help them get more real estate sales. So, you want to think about, what is your expertise? Can you develop a training program around it? The next thing is paid consults. People will love to say, I'd love to, meet with you and talk to you about XYZ, or pick your brain. And so what you ultimately want to do is, if you're going to deliver a result to this person over this call or over this session, you want to make it a paid consult. With a paid consult, you can charge for it. It depends. Some people offer free strategy sessions. I am currently doing that now, where I offer free breakthrough strategy sessions. But you can also charge for that service as well. You don't have to offer it as free. So keep that in mind. Pay consults, but you need to have, define what that means. what are people paying for? Are they paying, for them to present a problem to you and for you to give them a single solution? Or are they paying to really just talk about what their options are and for you to give them several solutions? So you need to just be clear about what exactly you deliver so that the client is clear on what they'll get in return for paying for this consult with you. Next is memberships. So with memberships, your clients pay you on a monthly basis in return for whatever it is that you have promised to provide. So even as someone who's new in coaching, new as a consultant, if you have a skill that people are willing to pay for, they will pay you. So over the course of my entrepreneurial journey, I've paid for social media graphics. I've paid for graphic design services. I've paid for training that was packaged up as a membership. And really, you have to look at, what do people need? What is it that you are skilled at, and what can you deliver, and how much of it can you deliver, so people can know, what to expect, so they can decide whether or not they want to pay for it. Maybe it's training that you provide around marketing. And so they get 4 marketing lessons and, in a month that are probably pre-recorded with some interaction with you. Maybe it is templates that you update on a monthly basis related to something that helps them be better or grow in their business. And it doesn't even have to be directed to people that have a business. You can also have memberships with people that don't have a business. It can, maybe you're a fitness coach and, every week or every month, you're delivering new workout plans or new recipes. So there's different things you can offer memberships around. And it goes back to, what are you skilled at doing? What does the market need? The thing you have to remember with memberships is, it does require you to stay active and to stay connected and to constantly update. So you have to make sure that you plan for that. So the final service I want to mention is virtual workshops. With this type of service, you're coming in and you're offering your expertise in whatever the case may be, whether it's marketing, sales, social media. You're offering them this training that they can do virtually. Maybe you're doing it in person, locally, however, or maybe you're doing a combination of both. However you choose to deliver that service, you would just price it accordingly. That's the 8 services I want to mention. The thing that I want you to think about as you think about the different services you can offer in your business is that some of these services, don't require a lot of upfront work, but some do. I mentioned live events. Live events are a lot of work to plan out. So you want to consider and look at, when you're thinking about what services you're going to provide, you want to look at, what kind of work, is entailed in doing this service. What is it that I need to do to actually pull the service off? What kind of resources do I need to have? And you want to make sure that you're planning for those things. You want to make sure that you're equipped to deliver. That is it for this episode. So I hope that you got a ton of value. I hope that you can diversify your services and not get locked into that one-on-one hamster wheel. And, where you're just constantly delivering one-on-one sessions, these 60, 90-minute sessions that aren't delivering much, and where you can't charge enough to really leave your 9 to 5. So these services are, services when done right and when mapped out correctly, you can create some great results for your clients. You can create some huge transformations, and you can have a roadmap to replacing your 9 to 5 income. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait for you to join me for the next episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. Take care and be well.